Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becca and today we are doing a little bit of repotting. So I have my old coffee table here, which I genuinely wanted to get rid of, but now I'm realizing that it is actually pretty nice to use for repotting and stuff. I don't know, I'm still kind of on the hunt for a little table to go in here in my plant room. And I did find some good options on Facebook Marketplace, but I just wasn't fast enough and I couldn't get myself to commit, you know what I mean? But now I know like the type of table that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a table that like has wings, I guess it's called, where it can come up and then come down and be stored away really easily. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I was thinking about building it and then I was like, no. Today we are obviously doing a repotting video and I did get a few like concerning, not DMs, but just like concerning little question things because this is a Q&A. So I put up a question box when I said I was doing this video. And I did get people being like, wait, why are you repotting in the winter? I thought you weren't supposed to. I guess it just depends on where you live. And I'm learning that Missouri, where I live, is not a great place to repot in the winter. But I do have my environment manipulated pretty well to not really feel that much like winter, especially in this room. Like it's very warm in here right now. When the sun is out shining, it is, how many degrees? 75 degrees in this room. When it is not sunny, it's a lot harder to keep this room warm, but I don't know, on the regular, it is pretty warm in here. And outside, just for reference, it's like 30 degrees, but on the inside in this room, 75 degrees. With that being said, I do have a few things that I want to repot. Nothing big, but just a few things that I want to put in a different pot or check up on or pot up from water. So we're going to do that right now, but I have some questions from you guys that we are going to get right into. What is the most expensive plant you've ever purchased? Okay, so we're starting off strong here. The most expensive plant I ever purchased was my big Monstera adansonii tree, which you can kind of see from over here. It was $200. Actually, no, have I paid more than that? I paid more for another plant. My Monstera albo was $265 or $295, I don't remember, but yeah, around almost $300 is the most that I've ever paid for a plant, and it was a Monstera albo. I have no regrets about it because, you know, after doing some market research as of lately, you can't even find like cuttings for that price anymore, really. If you do, it's like a really great deal and you should take it. But yeah, based off of the research that I was finding, I could not find anything even remotely close to what I paid for mine. So, which is definitely sad because that makes it not accessible, which makes the price just go up even more because it's considered like more rare. When really like it's not a rare plant, it's just harder to find. So the plant that I'm currently potting up is this philodendron squammy something. And this leaf has like dust from my cabinets when I was painting my cabinets, but this leaf is brand new and you can see that like beautiful fuzzy and then lots of roots. So I'm first going to pot it into a nursery pot because I just want to make sure that it's in, I don't know, I don't want to put it directly into like a pretty pot just yet, is basically what I'm saying. It will happen eventually, but I want it to like fill up this nursery pot pretty well before I put it in a situation like that, just to make sure that it's okay. But the root development on this plant is really good and it's been sitting in water for a very long time, probably like close to 6 months at this point. So it did not need to be in water for that long. I could have put it in soil like way sooner, but I didn't want to because I was moving and I didn't want to put it in there too early and just like freak the plant out. So yeah. Someone asked if I have issues transporting cuttings from water to soil, and there usually is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's never so bad that like the plant dies or anything like that. I mean, the plant will probably be droopy for a little bit, but usually it will bounce back pretty quickly, like within a week at least. It'll bounce back and be normal again, which is good because propagating in water, I'm realizing, is a good and easy way to do it, but propagating in like moss or something like that will produce roots that are just a little bit more strong for soil. But honestly, like I will continue to propagate in water because it works really well for me, in addition to also using other things like moss. Okay, are you growing anything outside this year? And if so, what are your plans? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about this. I feel like I don't really have like a ton to share just yet. This Anthurium has been in my tank soil for, I don't know, probably 6 months-ish. And it just looks so good. Like the soil structure is still so good. I just want to put it in this pot instead because I think that would be way cuter. This one is from Annie's Pottery, I believe. I will link as much stuff as I can in the description box. But I'm just gonna use this soil again because there's nothing wrong with it. It is my soil, you know, so I know that it's good. But yeah, so as far as outdoor gardening goes, I'm thinking that I want to have like several zones. And if you're unfamiliar, I live on 7 acres in zone 6A, I believe, in Missouri. So pretty much everything grows here. Like, well, maybe not everything, but like a lot of things grow here. It's a really great zone to grow in. Or so I've been told. Like a bunch of people, when they found out I was moving to 6A, were so excited for me because they say like, it's really easy to grow things here. So that's good to know, like especially as a beginner gardener, that I hopefully won't have that many issues. But pretty much what I want to do is for sure have some sort of vegetable garden. Like that's a given. I obviously want to grow food and see like how well I do with that. And like I'm thinking tomatoes and zucchini and peppers, just easy things. Definitely tomatoes, because homegrown tomatoes are the best. I always had homegrown tomatoes like growing up. My parents always had like some sort of tomato plant, and we used to have like little cherry tomatoes a lot, and it was so good. Like nothing will ever compare to that taste. So love that. And then I don't know what else. Like it'd be fun to grow melons, but I don't know if that's actually difficult. So actually, if you guys want to comment down below the easiest food in your experience that you've grown, because I'm sure that a lot of you have done some home growing. Here's this plant all finished and potted up. The next zone, I want to be a cut flower garden. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one because I feel like I will do better with flowers because I have grown flowers before. So it's a little bit more familiar territory. So yeah, cut flower garden, and I don't know like which cut flowers I want to do, but I'm planning on just going to the store and buying a bunch of seeds and just seeing what comes up. It'll definitely be more fun, but it won't be as serious because I would like to focus more of my efforts on the food part. But if I could grow flowers too, that would be really fun. And also I want to do some sort of butterfly garden situation, which might be the same thing as the cut flower garden. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I haven't done a ton of research about it, but my local botanical garden, the Missouri Botanical Garden, this is a Monstera siltepecana, by the way, just a little baby guy. They actually hold gardening classes. And so I signed up for a gardening class with them, and then I forgot about it and I didn't make it, which is so sad. But I think it was like $15, but they still emailed me all this stuff. Like, I don't think they knew that I didn't come. But anyway, they emailed me all of this stuff. And so I got all the materials for the class. I just didn't get to like listen to them talk, which is kind of sad, but also there's YouTube and I could always sign up again later. So check with your local botanical garden and see if anyone is holding classes, because I thought that was a really great learning opportunity for me, and also like just a fun way to give back to those botanical gardens and stuff like that. Okay, I just went and grabbed some more plants that I want to repot, but I'll get to that in a second. So next question, opinions on the Costa Farms Thai constellation drop that's in the works. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this, just Costa Farms in general. I have a lot of thoughts, and like I've been learning a lot about them, and I'm not here to like push my opinions on anyone, but I've just been hearing a lot of really like strange and problematic things about them, and I think like, I don't know, it's just caused my eyes to just like open up a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, let's just say I'm glad that I haven't worked with them, because I feel like if I had, I would really regret it. And like, not that anyone else should feel bad about working with them, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, when companies have a very like rocky history or like reputation, it's a little bit like, should I work with them? Should I not? I don't know, because you don't, like, I personally don't want to like cancel a company because they were involved in something weird and maybe came back from it and apologized or whatever. But I don't know, like, first of all, let's talk about the Thai constellation thing. So I think that, you know, Costa Farms producing Thai constellation, from the research that I've done about it, like in what I know about tissue culture in general, because the plants will be, I think they're tissue culture, which means that they're grown from cloning. I personally don't have any issues against tissue culture, and I think that it makes plants that are hard to find and usually typically very expensive more accessible. That does in turn kind of hurt smaller shops, but also it makes the product more accessible. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So in regards to the plant, I think it's really great. I think it's really great that the plant will soon be more accessible. And I hope that like other large companies might be able to pick up on it so that it's not just Costa Farms doing it, so that they don't have like a monopoly of sorts. In general, like Costa Farms, I don't really love them as a company. I have supported them in the past and bought plants from them, but just honestly, like I said, in recent weeks, days, months, I've just learned more about them. And I don't know, if you're curious, you can look into it. I'll leave something linked in the description box if you want to learn more about it, but I just actually read this online in like one of the only Facebook groups I'm still in, because I've left a lot of them. But yeah, it was an interesting read, so I'll leave that to you to make your own judgments. So this is the little watermelon peperomia that I grabbed from Family Tree Nursery. I'm having to learn all these new nurseries to have their names like right off the top of my head. And it is a peperomia, which means that the root system is very thin and sensitive. So what I'm doing right now is probably like not the greatest, but I want to remove a lot of this old soil, and I did happen to recently water it. So I might kill this plant right now. I really hope not. If I do, it was only $8 and I can go back for another one, but you know, the goal is to not kill the plant. But I'm trying to remove a lot of this old soil just by like very gently. I'm not usually this gentle, but it's a peperomia, so I have to be. So just very gently removing some of that old soil. It's basically, it feels like peat moss, honestly. There she is, my watermelon peperomia in this pot from Terra Vita. There is some soil on it. I need to wipe that off, but really excited. That pot plant combination looks really good together. I really like that. We are in the phase where my hands are very dirty and I am uncomfortable. If you know me, you know that I just hate when my hands are dirty. Okay, next question. Would you recommend living in another state at least once? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And keyword here that I really like is at least once. I think definitely. I mean, what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? If you have the means to be able to move, because moving is not always cheap, but if you have the means and you're able, like with work, with life, I would really suggest it, because I think it's a really great way to learn so much about yourself, so much about, you know, your partner, if you have a partner, but, you know, more importantly, just learning more about yourself. You know, it's not all related to relationships, but it gives you an opportunity to like grow and change in a new environment. And especially if you move somewhere that is like way, way different from your hometown or wherever you're from. I have wanted to leave my hometown for years. And it never worked out. I never had the opportunity. I never seized the opportunity for whatever reason. It just never felt 100% right. I wanted to leave after high school and go to college in Northern Arizona, but the funds were just not there because college is very expensive. It was more practical for me to go to community college and stay living with my parents for a year and move out, you know, a year after I graduated high school. I moved out when I was 19, and that was just a really great decision for me. And I think, like, you know how you like always hate your hometown growing up? Like, I grew out of that while I was living there, which was really nice, because a lot of people don't grow out of that until they leave, and then they come back and they're like, nah, this place isn't so bad. But I was lucky enough to experience that while I was still living there. So I think that was like a huge blessing of staying there for a lot longer than I had expected or wanted. And also, I met Daniel like 2 or 3 weeks after he moved to Tucson. So it just kind of feels like fate that I stayed, but I definitely am glad that I'm not there now. As much as I miss my family and friends, I think that moving was really essential for me to continue to grow up and mature and everything else. So yeah, I definitely would recommend moving out of your hometown at least once. And if you want to move back, that's totally cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with that either. Okay, this is my Burley Marks Fantasy I got from Adam. I have it on this moss pole, which used to belong to another plant, which is no longer with us. And I've repotted it into another Terravita pot. I find myself buying Terravita pots even if I don't need them right away, just because I know that I will probably need them eventually. And I think that I only have one left that doesn't have a plant in it, so might need to make another order soon. Okay, so with these guys, I said I would talk about it in a second. This is probably the last thing I'm gonna do with you, but I want to just change out the soil because this soil is like my old mix and I can just see some weird things happening on the insides here. And I want to just give it different soil that I know will still be good for Anthurium, but just change this because, yeah, these plants are super important to me and I want to make sure that they stay happy and healthy. And wow, it looks like they are very happy and healthy. These roots are gorgeous. So I potted in some sphagnum moss in here, and there is some spag like on the roots, which I'll leave. I don't really feel the need to remove it because, again, the old soil wasn't bad. I don't know. Don't necessarily feel comfortable having the plant in it right now. And also the spag on the topsoil looked really gross. So yeah, this is the root system on my Anthurium Doriaki. And something really interesting, you can see that this used to be a plant right here, and this is an offshoot of the original plant, if that was visible in any way. So that's really fun to know that little history on the plant. I didn't notice that before. Okay, next question. What is your favorite plant parent achievement? Oh my gosh, okay, I know this one immediately. And I feel like I've talked about this like a few times in the last couple of videos and on Instagram, so just like ignore how repetitive I am. I'm like a one-track mind person, so like I get really excited and like talk about something like 80 times. Anyway, so a couple months ago, I decided to start to grow some plants from some wet sticks. And I was not at all sure how this was going to go because I had never done wet stick propagation before. And I hadn't exactly heard like amazing things from it. Like really the only plants that I heard people doing this with was like, you know, Alba monstera and like other like quote unquote rare plants, because obviously with a plant like that, with the prices like that, you'll take it at any stage. Honestly, like a lot of people will just buy a full-on wet stick of a monstera and sometimes have no idea how to start it and then kill it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I started a bunch of plants like some melanochrysum, some varicosum, and some standeliana from wet sticks. And I am like so impressed with myself and impressed with the plants, really. Like they're the ones doing the work. I just made the environment and they're doing the work. But I'm just like so impressed that they're growing and they're growing so well. Like we're coming to the point where there's like actually new leaves popping out. Like we have leaves coming out of the sticks. So it's not just a wet stick anymore, it has leaves. And you know, granted the leaves are like tiny, tiny, but that is where a plant starts, you know what I mean? So it's really exciting to see that. And yeah, I just am so proud of that. And I love it. I love that I did that. So here we go. I repositioned it so it's a little bit further down into the pot as well. And that looks a lot better. What rooms have you done in your house? Okay, so we know that I just recently moved into this house, and something we might not know is that I'm like really bad in interior decorating. Like I have a lot of ideas, but when it comes to executing the ideas, I just am not that great. And I have a lot of trouble just like doing things. Like I wanna do this, I wanna do that, but when it actually comes to doing it, yeah, again, I'm just not great at executing. So currently the room that is the most done in my house is the living room. And yeah, it's not even really done. I mean, I need to put things on the walls still. I need to get a new rug. I did the dumbest thing. So I found a rug like a couple years ago online that we had at our old apartment, and it was like $80 for like a huge 9x12 rug, which like if you are in the home decor sector of the internet or whatever, you know that like a rug that size goes for hundreds of dollars. I found it for $80, I think like off of rugsusa.com or something like that. It was ridiculously cheap. and it made absolutely no sense. And like the carpet was really great. It was kind of thin, like it wasn't fluffy at all, but like it definitely did the job. And like in the stress of moving, I decided not to bring it. So we just ended up donating it. And that is probably like one of my big regrets in life, is doing that, because now we could really use a rug, because obviously it's cold and like the floor, we have all hard floor. We only have carpet upstairs. So like it would be nice to have a little carpet. It would also be nice to not have to spend like $500 plus on a rug. Because this time I don't want to buy like a little thin one. I really want one that has some substance to it. But again, those things are like upwards of $1,000, like very expensive. Back to the question, rooms that are done. So this room that you're currently sitting in is the only room that is done, and like everything else just kind of feels like I'm running around like with no idea what to do. So yeah, that's pretty much my life. Repotted, well, I guess like soil changed. I want to finish the living room, and then I want to work on like the dining room area. And I put up some shelves in the dining room area, and they look really cute. I trimmed them myself with a saw, so it was pretty fun. But other than that, I haven't really done a ton. So I would love to do that. It's just like, it's so expensive to do these things. And I guess it's not that I don't have the money. It's just that spending money on these things feels so frivolous. And I would rather spend it on like stupid little purchases. You know what I mean? Like I'm still in that phase where I don't want to spend a lot of money on one thing. I would rather spend like a little bit of money on a lot of things, and not home decor. Like I don't know why I don't like buying home decor, but yeah, I'd rather spend my money on like going out to eat and going on vacation and stuff like that. Like I'd rather pay for experiences. But at the same time, if you decorate your home can be an experience. Maybe I just convinced myself to like it. I don't know. Your home can feel like an experience if you just put some money into it. How about that? I would love to do my bedroom, actually. I think my bedroom would be next. The dining room is fine. My bedroom, I want like a bedroom set, you know, like a bed frame. We don't have a bed frame. It's just sitting like on a little riser thing. So that would be nice to have that, and like a nightstand. I'm currently using a TV box as a nightstand, so that's my life. My life is only put together in the realm of plants. Everything else is a disaster. So if you ever think that my life is perfect, just like, please understand that it is absolutely not, and I'm a mess. Okay, last question. Have you ever wanted to come to South America? Absolutely. I love travel. I love going places. I just love it so much. And I was able to, like, I'm 24 right now, so I graduated when I was 22. And so I really only had like 2.5 years to really travel. And one of those years has been spent in isolation, which is so sad. But during that like 1.5 years where I could travel, I went to a lot of places, and it was so fun. And definitely since I've become more like of a houseplant person, the draw of South America is so much bigger. Like I don't think that I ever really thought about South America like as a place I'd like to visit. I had a friend who's from Peru, and like I always thought about going to visit him. But like, other than that, I never really thought about South America. But now I'm like, I have to go. Like Colombia would be incredible, among other places. But I would love to see these plants like in their natural environment. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. But Daniel and I have planned some travel stuff for hopefully the end of 2021. I don't know, within the US, we're planning on going somewhere, but we will just have to see how things go with like vaccinations and everything. So anyway, we'll see. We have some plans, but you know what they say about plans. Don't make them anymore. So we'll see. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me on this little repotting video. I love repotting with you guys. It makes it so fun. And I actually, like, next time I repot, I think I want to do a silent ASMR repotting. I did that once before, and a bunch of people really liked it. So yeah, it's like a real-time silent, I don't talk. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and asking these questions. Again, loved chatting, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. What was that? Bye.